Howdy, folks. Welcome back once again to that dadgum Lawrence Jameson show. Y'all in for a treat on this one. Because everybody who is somebody who fool with Age of Sigmar knows that the release or the drop, as you would say, of the second edition of Age of Sigmar is imminent within the next few weeks. They've been releasing all sorts of whatnot and nonsense about it and the rules and all the models. And in this part one video, I'm just going to take a look at some of the rules. I ain't going to comment too much about what and look at the box set and the models and all that. But they're calling it the Soul Wars. And it says right here that daggum Soul Wars has begun. So since we can't stop it, you know, we got to go with it, kind of like the malign portents or whatever, but just worse. Because they say they're not changing the books. And they say they ain't changing the stats and the war scrolls and none of the things. But what they are changing, they're tweaking, you might say. You know, some of this stuff you're going to say they're daggum tweaking. But anyway, they're tweaking some of the core mechanics of the game, including turn priority and spell casting and summoning, of course, which everyone knows needed to be fixed. But they're fixing things that maybe didn't need to be fixed. And so I'm going to take a look, hopefully through these screenshots, and some of y'all in the chat right there might have to tell me if the screen share is working. When I click it off here and go over to the screen share over, y'all gonna have to tell me if it's working or not. There might be a daggum real short video. But anyway, I'm just going to be giving my opinion of these daggum changes and how they're going to really affect me. Well, I'm mainly playing Nurgle and some Stormcast now that I got a little bit interested in it. But once we get into the models, I'll tell y'all why I'm really not interested in this new Stormcast coming up. Anyway, I'll get into all that later on. But right now I'm going to switch over and try to switch over to the screen sharing and see what we get here. You'd think I'd have learned to work this daggum stuff by now, but that ain't the daggum case. So let's see what happens. All right, y'all tell me over there in the chats, can y'all see this thing? It says Warhammer Age of Sigmar Rules Preview Index. Can anybody see it over there? Are y'all seeing in the chat? Are y'all getting the screen share? Is it coming up or no? Alrighty, I'm going to take that as a yes. So tell me if you ain't getting it, if the screenshots ain't coming up. Let me know in the chat there. It's coming up? All right, good. All right. They done got a list over here on the Warhammer community site on the internet here. And you can go down here and look at all these different sections of rule changes that they got coming up. And they just overviews of the rule changes. I'm not going to go terrible in depth with them and math hammer them out and things like that of what changes they might make to this and that. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of overview them and give my little old opinion on it. And that'll be that. All right, this is talking about artifacts of the realms. The mortal realms, the enormous, and the factions that fight among it. And I mean, like I said, I'm just going to skip on through it. It says, when you're writing your army list, you're going to have the option to pick a realm for your army to be from. Now, you know how careful Games Workshop is with their words. They don't, if means if and others and others. It really does make a daggum difference. And so for them to say the option to pick a realm for your army to be from, does that mean you don't have to if you don't want to? But anyway, here we go. Each of the mortal realms has 6 magical weapons and 6 trinkets that's going to be associated to them daggum realms. And it looks like they got several of the examples up here. An Aether Quartz brooch and a Beast Caller's bones. And look at this one here. It says each time you spend a command point, roll a dice. On a 5+, you receive 1 command point. You know, is that an artifact? You talking about a 30? You're going to get back a third of your command points if you take that artifact. You know, if you're a trickster and you're stacking command points and buying command points, which I guess we're going to get into a little bit later on when they talk about command points and the buying of them and such not. If you're into that, that might be a good daggum artifact. Well, anyway, it looks like basically what they're saying is they've expanded the artifacts greatly and not tied them to specific factions. It doesn't look like here. It's tied them to certain realms that you can have your army to be from. All right. And I believe you'll probably get better buffs on what if you're using that artifact or spell or whatnot in that same realm that you're from. And that's where the daggum spell and stuff's from. I think you're going to get, you know, bonuses or whatnot. All right, battling in the realms. Mortal realms are as diverse as the battle system. Each world is unto itself its own climates. We already know. We know all that. All right, let's go down here. Choosing a realm. The choices of which battle you decide to fight your battle is going to be up to you. Which I'm a little bit... I almost wish that they would go all in on it, man. We're going to see, because we're looking at all this in a vacuum, of course. And I almost wish they'd go all in and say, okay, you're going to roll match play and all to fight. Every battle is going to be fought in a realm, and that's just it. You know, it's going to be known what realm you're in instead of up to you to decide, man. If they leave too much up to you, man, you can just go too far off of daggum rails. Anyway, maybe I ain't reading it right. All right, choosing a realm, set your battles up to you. Blah, blah, blah. Each one of the mortal realms has a unique set of rules and challenges and opportunities for battles fighting in them. You might recognize some of the expansions of the recent General's Handbook, which had some of the same type of stuff. Each realm has a command ability itself, I'm sure. Here, and they give some examples. Command abilities on it. And secondly, each realm has a set of realmscape features, and that's gonna be things that happen during the game. I guess let's give it an example right here. Flaming missiles. Improve the rend characteristic of missile weapons by 1 when the range from the attacking unit to the target unit is more than 12 inches. So I guess I reckon when you're playing in Ashkity, the realm of fire is what it is. When you play in there, if the missiles is up in the air long enough, 12 inches, they catch on fire and improve the rim by 1. That's a sweet rule. You can't argue that at all if you can remember it. Anyway, here we go. But it looks like there's going to be a lot of option, man. And I would wish they, you know, hoping that they structure the options where it's just not a daggone garbled mess. Anyway, Last of More Realms is a massive selection of spells associated to it, representing unique powers that the wizards are able to harness. Each realm has 7 spells, all of which will be able to beat any wizard fighting in that realm. Rules are great if using a wizard without a battle tome full of spells. That's good anyway, man. And then lots of people was complaining about the wizards didn't have no spells. Wizards didn't have no spells compared to the old days of Warhammer. I'm gonna tell you this, man. A wizards did have when they're only you can only use 1 or 2 around, and every wizard has at least 4. You know, spells because they got the 2 base spells, and then they got 1 spell on the war scroll, and then they get 1 lore spell, at least 1. So you got at least 4 to choose from. Anyway, I thought, you know, they had enough, but maybe they're dumping just tons and tons on us. All right, here's one of the examples of it. If you're playing in the realm of metal, Shaman, your wizard could carry this here Curse of Rust spell, and the Curse of Rust is a casting value of 7. All right. Successfully cast, pick an enemy unit within 12 inches of the caster. It's visible to them. So it's a fairly short range spell. Subtract 1 from hit rolls and save rolls for that unit to your next hero phase. So it's a fairly persistent little knock the top off of especially units like Blight Kings, Spirit Host, things of that nature, man. That's getting a hex rate, things that's getting bonuses on daggum sixes. That's a good little knocker right there. All right, that's about, like I said, I'm going to go over these quick. This video ain't going to be real long. I'll probably spend more time on some things than others. Hang on. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. I agree. I hope it's not gonna be 4 pages, man. I'm looking at the chat. I'm just looking at the chat real here with John. Yeah, we're not talking about 4 pages anymore. I hope it's not a mess. Me too, man. Like I said, some structure to this is a lot of course, they want to brag about how much stuff they're releasing. So, they're releasing a lot. It sounds like a wave. It is a wave. All right, here we're going to get into some meat. Command abilities. All right. The new design. In a new edition, the hero phase has been expanded. All right. There are loads of awesome command abilities on the War Scrolls, but in previous editions, only the daggum general could use it. Not every hero could use it. So now it opens up all this. So any hero can use their command ability that's on the War Scroll. Here's the catch. It costs a command point to do it. Now you generate 1 command point per turn. And I believe you're going to get 1 command point per battalion, War Scroll battalion that you take. And you're also going to be able to buy them, is what I've heard. And let's see if we get down here to what they're talking about. I might need to actually read a little bit more on it. All right, now it opens up. It says it's opening up different possibilities with your armies, which I totally agree on, because there was units that leaders, heroes, whatnot, that had fairly sweet command abilities, but you couldn't pick them as your general, man. You just couldn't for one reason or another. And also now this is going to allow you to do things like use one character's long range ability. For example, my Lord of Plagues has a command ability where he can fire out 21 inches and do that, a certain number of wounds. He rolls 7 dice and does more wounds on 6. That's a 21-inch strike. He can get right out the gate, and then on turn 2, if I can start buffing things from other commanders like the Glock and things like that, just to give you an example from the Nurgle side of it. All right. And it says, it's talking about the resource called command points. You receive 1 per turn, additional point at the beginning of each game per War Scroll battalion you've used. This adds a dynamic. That's not 1 per turn per War Scroll battalion. You just get the 1 at the beginning of the game for the War Scroll battalion. This adds a dynamic for the hero phase where you may want to refrain from using command abilities so you can save them back, because you don't have to use a command ability now in the hero phase. Some of these command abilities and things and whatnot, and especially some of the generic ones, go off into different phases. So in a new improved command ability system, here's going to give you the new base ones. So of course they just nuked Inspiring Presence. It's not the same daggum deal. You can use it now at the start of the Battle Shock phase. All right. And if you do pick a friendly unit within 6 inches of a friendly hero or 12 inches of a hero that's the general, that unit does not have to take the Battle Shock. So if they've nerfed, I mean, you can't call that nothing but a nerf. That's a little bit of a nerf on it. And here you go at the double, because of course it used to be you just pick a unit in the hero phase and it wasn't going to have to take Battle Shock. You can use this command ability after you make a roll for a friendly unit that is within 6 inches of friendly hero or 12 inches of the hero that's a general. That seems to be the theme. That's a thing. on a lot of this stuff, it seems to be like heroes gonna have this bubble, and then if it's a general, it's a little bit bigger bubble, and that at the double means you can make a hang on. It says after you make a run roll, which it means after you make a crappy run roll for a friendly unit that's within 6 inches of the hero and whatnot, you get treated as a 6. All right, so that's happening during the daggone movement phase for that command ability. Then forward to victory. This is in charge phase. After you make a charge phase for a friendly roll that's within 6 inches, that is a general. If you can re-roll it, hang on a second. You can re-roll the charge roll. So basically, after you fail a charge roll from a friendly unit, or you might, there's going to be situations where, yeah, you rolled that 3, but man, it would have been a lot better if you rolled a daggum 6. So maybe, but is that worth the command point? That's what them daggum generals is going to have to decide, I reckon. All right. So like I said, I just told you about what all them forward to victory and what all they. Now, the new command point ability system will make your games deeper, more tactical, and more fun than ever before. Whether your army or whatever your heroes, you'll be able to control the flow of the game, unleash cunning combos, and have to remember them another whole set of stuff. All right, we're gonna go back and talk about what I think about the command abilities real quick. I think it's an improvement, a dynamic improvement. I think there are going to be some such people, math hammer people and list hammer people and theory hammer people who are going to be able to put together break the game type combos for turn 1 and things, by especially if you can buy command points. And I think out of every daggum thing that we're going to look at on this list and that we have already looked at, I think the most dangerous thing, that has the biggest potential for abuse is being able to purchase command points, because there's going to be some daggum gurus out there figure out some absolutely catastrophic combos off of command points that will win the daggum game for them pretty much. They can alpha strike and really do some really, really nasty things. And I think that the ability to purchase them, I almost think you maybe should have been able to earn them in different other type of ways. But that's how they're doing their summoning system, which we'll get to that later. Now, endless spells. The magic is changing in a new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, offering you something you ain't never seen on the tables before. Physical sorceries with models and rules of their own. So basically, they're saying you got to buy a box set of spells, models. Everybody. It's not faction specific. This one ain't for the orcs. This one ain't for that. I mean, they made it look like that one was for the orcs. They made you think that was on different photographs, but I believe that it's going to be where any wizards can kind of buy these spells, and I think they're going to cost points. These spells, I think. It says, endless spells are made unforeseen kind of national. This is lore. They're mixing the daggum lore in with the rules too much. All right, they cast like normal spells, but rather than resolving their text with a mere roll of dice, each summons a model to the table. This miniature persists throughout the game till it's dispelled, which I think is going to be another type of spell that wizards have that they can cast instead of their own spells. It ain't going to be it's not going, dispelling spells is going to be something different than, denying I've been playing 40K, denying the witch, a 30-inch unbinding. I'm talking about unbinding range. That's different. All right, then dispel, because dispel is going to be putting out these, but it might. Dude, these are either going to be a gum flop, or they're going to be something big. They could be a spin. You just start thinking about spin-off scenarios where you just have a set of these daggum spells on the table, and the daggum armies aren't even fighting against each other. You could have co-op battles against it depends on how the quote unquote AI and all of these daggone spells work, because yeah, they're being controlled. Sounds like back and forth by the player. So we're going to read about that coming up right here. It says most of them are damage dealers, a purple sun. That's on all prime examples. And they run around the table, and it says they're moved at the start of each battle round after determining the priority for the turn, with players taking turns to pick who the spell to move, starting with the player that has second turn in that round. You'll be able to move any endless spell with this move, not even just the ones you control, or anyone on the daggone board, representing their wild and untamable nature. All right. Neat. And it says, suddenly, always shooting for a double turn can become a very dangerous prospect indeed. And I've seen people on the internet discussing this right here, and I'm going to tell you that this ain't that big of a deal. It's going to take a heck of a daggone persistent spell out there to get me to daggum turn over the double turn on 2 to 3. I'm going to tell you that. It'll have to be a hurricane spell, and I don't even think it's going to ain't no way. It may be very situational too. It may be where you have to do it, but I think it's going to be not coming up as much as people think. But anyway, not all of them are damage dealing, and a host of them also help your army in a variety of ways, which mean you'd want to move them towards your unit. Some are healing and this and that, protecting and this and that. The Balewind Vortex is one such spell. All right. And they got this daggone box set that we're going to take a look at and talk about the prices and all on the next video when we talk about all the models and whatnot. But let me go back from these spells. Let me give one more final word, or my word on these endless spells. I don't at this point think it's a money grab to try to get you to fork out the price of a daggone start collecting box, and everybody's got to have it. If you don't got it, you ain't gonna be competitive. Is this a pay to win? Well, no, because once the guy throws it out there, they're trying. Is it being masked? Is it a pay to win thing? It's being masked a little bit by the rules that you can move the thing if you go second and this and that, and you take turns moving the spells once they're on the table. I don't know how powerful are the spells. We've seen some of the damage. I didn't actually go through one of the things, but none of them seem catastrophic enough, like I said, at all, unless it's terrible situational, that I'm going to pass off the double turn on any of the turns, actually. So look out, sir. Well, there's an old rule coming from 40K and old Warhammer Fantasy Battle and such, that was you could pass off wounds. If one of your generals took wounds, you could pass them off to fellers that was nearby. And that was basically the old look out, sir type rule. But now they got a new command ability system, making heroes more useful. This is going to be like a all the time rule. You ain't got to cast it or nothing. It says you must subtract 1 from hit rolls made for missile weapons if the target of the attack is an enemy hero that is within 3 inches of an enemy unit that has 3 or more models. Dang it. All right, hang on. You must subtract 1 from, because this is kind of different from what I was thinking of before, what it actually was. Because I thought it was like at all the times, but it looks like only when the enemy hero is within 3 inches of an enemy unit that has 3 or more models. You have to have a little retinue around you. You catch an enemy hero out alone, you can shoot him, and this don't apply. But if he has 3 or more models, a unit with 3 or more models within 3 inches of him, he can claim his lookout, sir, which just takes 1 off of a Caradron Overlord shooting him in gun lines from free peoples, if you just want to get specific about it and such. But anyway, keeping your heroes close to your units make them harder for the enemies to kill. Nifty. I daggone totally agree. Very nifty. I like that rule. That's about all I can say about it. Keeping a little retinue around the leaders so they can take advantage of that is a good rule. Now, I don't play character on Overlords either. All right, Master Casting and Unbonded. All right, it says magic is one of the most exciting parts. And I got, I played Zinch Army, which they're giving a daggum example of right here in the daggum photo. So I was, had a big time spell army. I'm playing Nurgle right now, which is a fairly big spell casting army. So I was interested in these. The guts down here, man, and your base spells has always been Arcane Bolt and Mystic Shield. And these are casts. If you're a casting army, you're using these almost every turn. Almost every turn. And because of the buffing somebody to a 2+ save pretty easily, with a whole unit or whatnot, with the only on a 6. And the attack, the daggum Arcane Bolt, was the die 3 mortals within 18 inches for 5, a casting roll of 5. So what they've done to them is they've nerfed them, and it just ain't nothing. You can't call it nothing but a nerf. And so what they done is they took Arcane Bolt. Arcane Bolt has casting value of 5, which is going to be the same. Talk about that in a minute. If successfully cast, pick an enemy unit within 18 inches of the caster visible to them. That unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Oh, so now it's down to 1. If the casting rolls 10 or more, the unit suffers die 3 mortal wounds instead. So if you get a 10 or better, what is it? Daggum 10 or better, by around 15%. Fuck, I don't know the exact number. 15% chance of getting a daggum. It's only good, still the same as it was in 15% of the rolls, but we're keeping the casting value the same. So basically, they've nerfed the effect and kept the casting value the same. All right, Arcane Bolt. Now, what'd you do to Mystic Shield? Mystic Shield casting value is 6. I guess you're showing you the old one there. I wasn't even paying no attention to that. All right, casting value is 6. If successfully cast, pick a friendly unit and re-roll save rolls of 1 until your next hero phase. Instead of add 1 to the save rolls, it's now re-roll save rolls of 1. Oh, my liberators with shields and people with shields and things like that, huh? They just get left out to dry on this one, huh? Mystic Shield just don't even... Why cast it on a band of liberators anymore? Which that's kind of strange. Games Workshop would nerf something like that just benefits greatly the Stormcast. This was a Stormcast must cast thing if you can get it off. If you got to drag along a daggum wizard and things with you. But so anyway, what I think they should have done before we talk about Unbonded, I think this nerf was needed, but they did it the wrong way. Because what the deal was this: you can't pass up only having a roll of 5 and getting D3 damage. I'm talking about the old way. You can't pass that up each turn because most of your own lore spells and things like that, man's going off on higher numbers than that. 7s, 8s, 9s, I think. So, excuse me. To have something that powerful gonna go off on a 5, you gotta use it all day. You gotta use it every daggum turn. Same thing with his Mystic Shield. The effect of it was powerful, adding 1 to the save roll, basically giving you +1 armor. The effect is powerful, but the roll to get it was fairly low, a 6, right? And a lot of daggum casting armies, they're rolling with things that bring those numbers down even lower. Buffs and whatnot to their casting rolls that bring it down even lower. So why are you not going to use it? So what they should have done was up the casting value on Arcane Bolt. At least 1 each. At least 1 each. It should have been probably 2. So if they'd have run them up 2, you'd have had to make a serious decision. Is you going even 1? You're going to use Arcane Bolt, or are you going to use that spell that does goes off on a 7 or 8 and does some debuff? It's going to. I don't agree with this, and that's just my opinion. I don't agree with the way that they nerf these. Unbonded. Second, you now intend to unbind a spell a massive 30 inches from a wizard, up from 18. So pretty much almost a double. So, you know, those turn 1 alpha strikes like I was talking about, you know, that had some of these spells that I had that was long rangers, plague squall and things. They're going to be now in range of those wizards to be unbind. So this hitting them 2 base spells and unbinding. That's a nerf, man. That's a huge, big nerf to magic. And you got to say, well, why did they're talking about magic is an exciting and important part of the income thing. It's getting bigger and bigger. We gave you 18 million spells, but we're going to nerf them. That's kind of crazy. So now, like I said, we're looking at this in a vacuum. We don't know how it interacts with any of the other rules that there is. Yeah, endless spell box is going to be almost an auto buy for most people. Yeah, that's it. Only you're right, exactly. And I think it's just liberators with shields. My favorite way, but you're right. I don't know if casters will be. I don't know either. I mean, we're going to see shortly here. If your army doesn't have a battle tome or store to choose from yet, don't worry. There's plenty of exciting stuff on the way. And they're going to drag it in through, I guess, you know, the General's Handbook and all. Here's one of our favorites any wizard can use when you find yourself in the Radiant Vistas of Haish, which is this banishment thing. And everybody's been kind of like people talking about this banishment casting value of 8, which that is, you know, 8. Let me go back real quick to Arcane Bolt. Arcane Bolt used to be a kill mid-leveled heroes. That used to be what its main good use for it was. Heroes that had to be up near the front line that had short range bubble buffs, and you could get to them with this spell with your wizards within 18 inches, and you could hit them 1 time because all you needed was a 5 at the most, and then you could hit them again on the next turn, and they're gone. All right, most likely if you're rolling. All right. So that it's now been reduced to this. When am I going to even use Arcane Bolt? Yes, now of course I'm going to look at that spell that we were just fixing to look at that has a daggum 8. Of course, now I'm going to look at that like, all right, I got to use it. I might use it. You know what I mean? Better. So maybe what we're talking about, maybe it is going to make you think about using all the other spells and not go to Arcane Bolt. You know why? Because Arcane Bolt's going to be used for one thing. If I catch me a hero out that's only got 1 wound left, 1 daggum wound, because I can't depend on rolling a 10. That's for daggum sure. But if I catch a hero out that's got 1 wound, of course I'm going to roll that 5 on him. That's all that thing's for. So 1 bolt, Arcane Bolt. That's right now. It ain't even bolts. It should have been called. It should have been called before Arcane Bolts with an S. Now it's Arcane Bolt. It's named rightly now. I guess so. All right, banishment. Casting value of 8. If successfully cast, pick an enemy unit within 12 inches of the caster, visible to them. Remove that unit from the battlefield and set it up again on the battlefield. More than 9 inches away from any models from a casted army and more than 24 inches away from the caster. So yes, you banish it all kind of ways, and people been coming up with all kind of ways that things that they're going to use this banishment spell for to trap people and drag them into different traps and different whatnots to destroy them and drag them towards things. Man, I think people ain't gonna want to play in the daggum realm of Haish, but I guess it says if you're battling it says one of our favorites any wizard can use for when you find yourself battling in the radiant vistas of Haish. So does that mean that you only use it? They got spells that you only use in them certain realms, because they were making it seem earlier like you picked a realm that your army that could be from, and so you had that whole section of 50-something thousand spells to pick from. As long as you stayed within your one realm, and it didn't matter what battle the realm was in. But now it's saying this, when you find yourself battling in the vistas, we're gonna see one of the 7 spells available in this realm, and one of the 7 spells you can battle in. 7 realms to battle in. That's 50 new spells right there. All right, so they claim that they're buffing magic by giving you a whole bunch of more spells and things, but this main thing up here, the 30-inch Unbind, the Arcane Bolt, and the Mystic Reroll, that right there, that's the main. That's a bigger nerf, and I think you're going to get a buff. We're going to see. I don't know if we're going to see how it plays. That's all we can do. Measuring and piling in. All right, measuring and piling in. Base to base measuring. All right, it's official now. Measuring distances base to daggum base. All right. That's the way everybody in the daggum brothers playing it anyway. So there it is. Piling in has changed very slightly to work with the new official base to base. And I'm just going to give you a gist of it. A unit can make a piling move is within 3 inches of an enemy or has made a charge move in the same turn. If this is the case, you can move each model in the unit up to 3 inches. Each model must finish it piling at least as close to a nearest enemy model as it was at the start of the move. Now, this is the first time that I have actually read this rule outright in black and daggum white. And I've seen something that I ain't seen before. A unit can make a piling move is within 3 inches of an enemy unit. That ain't nothing changed. Or has made a charge move in the same turn. Why would they have to say that? Because if you made a charge move, you have to be within 3 inches. So I don't understand that right there. That just kind of confused me a little bit. Anyway, it says in this case, you can move each model up to 3 inches. That's the same. Each model must finish its piling move at least as close to the nearest enemy model as it was. The old wording said closer. And that meant to most daggum people that when you touched bases, there was no more piling in. There was no more shifting around. This means you can touch bases and roll around the bases. Now, I had played at places that done that before, and I just had to play with it and do it to it. But most of the time, I got it done to me, of course, before I would do it to somebody else. As far as hit the base, I preferred playing this way and played this way when I could before. So this ain't no big change to me. Which bases should you use? Whichever ones you want. If you got a collection that's beautifully based, you can put away the clippers. There's no enforced single standard on how you should base your models. Realize, though, if you're going to tournaments, it's going to say that tournament organizers could put restrictions on what type of bases. A tournament organizer could actually say round bases only. Tournament organizer could say no square bases. Tournament organizer could say only official size bases. And hopefully they're going to have some comprehensive place where they put all the base sizes for the units. Maybe in a general's handbook, which I'd like to see an additional column out there when they give the points and all. Why can't you give us a points for skirmish as well if they're eligible? Because there's a lot of units that's come out, especially in Nurgle, that I want to use in skirmish that they ain't got points for. And then if they're eligible in skirmish, give them the points for that. and also give them. Hang on, let's get back to it. Give them the base size. And if it has a oval base, just tell a base size just right out on the very end of it. And that's the official base size. So if you just put it all in one spot, is what I'm trying to say. So that's the last thing I'm gonna say on the bases. I've been playing it that way already. Let's see what they say about shooting. Now this has been a prickly thing for everybody, because daggum in almost every single one of Games Workshop games until Age of Sigmar, when you went into melee combat with another unit, there weren't really no shooting in or out of that combat. They had to put down the bows and pick up a daggum swords and go at it. And there were certain games that had different mechanics where you could fire into the combat and had chances of hitting people in their desperation rules and things like that. I think Armageddon had that in the 40K thing. But anyway, most of the time, once you daggum come into hand-to-hand combat, that was it for shooting. But in Age of Sigmar, of course, that went all out the window. And you could just shoot at any time. Anytime in the shooting phase, you could shoot anywhere you was eligible to shoot. Didn't matter if you was already like in hand-to-hand. And that was a prickly point with a lot of people. And it was maybe the biggest prickle point on people that quit Age of Sigmar or hate Age of Sigmar is you can shoot into combat. So what they going to do about it? Enemy units. A unit can shoot at any enemy unit is within 3 inches of another friendly unit without penalty. Wait, hang on. I missed that. A unit can shoot when it is within 3 inches of the enemy. But if it does so, it can only target enemy units that are within 3 inches of it with its shooting attacks. So that means basically you got to shoot at who's in front of you. You got to shoot at the person, the ones that they made a daggum compromise kind of in the middle. You can still shoot, but it's got to be at them dang people. Now, this is about shooting. A unit can shoot at enemy units within 3 inches of a friendly unit without penalty. So that means you can shoot into the combats without penalty. So the only thing they did was make it to where the people that's actually getting attacked are getting a penalty on them. Now, there's a lot of shooting armies that's been dominating the competitive area. Caradron Overlords I'm talking about. They ain't gonna like these rules, man. Maybe they get a points decrease thing for it. I think they are, because they definitely this is a nerf to shooting, and it's changing slightly. That's it is a nerf, because you cannot now. You can tie up in tar pit shooting units, even powerful shooting units. You can get units within 3 inches of them, and they cannot shoot at your other troops because they have to engage those. So we're going to see how that plays out on the shooting. Hey, when I wasn't going to go back. All right, on the shooting, now we're talking about the summoning. Now, this has always been the worst part of Age of Sigmar. In fact, in competitive play, you don't even put it this way, it was a mess from the very beginning. And a lot of people just avoided even doing it, because the way you had to save back points and you didn't know what you was getting, it was just a mess. And then they tried a little bit to link it to summoning to the different units, so all chaos wizards know how to summon this or that, or I try to link it to all that and casting as a spell, and that's a mess too. And now they come up with a new mechanic that generates points, and they're going to make these there's faction specific mechanics. The Nurgle is contagion points, which is you generate those by spreading across the battlefield and planting daggum feculent normal trees. That's how you're generating contagion points, they call them. And using these contagion points, you can build them up turn after turn and then spend them on summoning demons and things to the battlefield without paying any kind of points, returning things to the battlefield. Now, this ain't nothing new. The skeletons and whatnot for death has been doing things like this and returning large numbers and points back to the battlefield. And it didn't break the game. So what they did, they're saying that every faction is going to have a mechanic to summon. Now I've given kind of an overview. Let's read what they're saying. In the new edition, has been changed to work for the better. Properly reflect the character. After all, calling corn demons is nothing like raising the undead. All right, so every faction is going to have their own little way of generating these type of points that they're going to spend to summon. They're going to call it summoning. They're going to call it a lot of different things. It says right here, for example, Slanesh generates points when their heroes deal or receive wounds which do not slay the target. Meaning when they take wounds that they're not slaying people, or they deal wounds that are not slaying. So they want to go after hero units and higher wound things to cause the pain. And as they build up more pain points or whatever they call them, then they're going to spend those to summon demons to the battlefield. The Seraphon are going to have their own thing to get slaying Star Masters and that are performing rituals. It's going to be all type of different things. Now, the Corn already has one where units they slay give them blood tithe points, and they spend those on certain whatnot. That's all going to be modified. And they say in the General's Handbook, everybody, even non-casting and non-magic units, are going to be able to bring models back onto the battlefield. So we're going to see how that all works. And if that isn't a mess. Now, finally, turn priority. All right. So turn priority has also been an issue of contention. The double turn. It can swing a game. In fact, I depend on it as a Nurgle player from turn 2 to 3 to swing a game that I'm losing. And it has, and it will continue to swing a game that I'm losing if I can double 2 to 3. And now basically, everybody knows, if you're watching this far in this video, you know how it all works to start with. So in the new edition, they've added an extra level of chance. And basically, they give the player that already has the priority wins ties. All right. So the player that had went first in turn 1 on the roll off from 1 to 2, he wins a tie. And by the math hammer and all, it puts that means it's basically taking it away from a 50-50 chance of retaining the priority to now you're going to retain on around 60-40. Is that a good thing? We're going to see, man. We are going to see. Is it going to cut down on a little bit of the swing? Yeah. You just cut down 10% of the swing. So, 60-40 is a lot different in the grand scheme of things over millions of dice rolls than 50-50. It's way different. And we're going to see how that cutting down on the swinginess is going to perform. It's going to be a big difference. And I wonder how many times people are going to forget it even though it's so daggone powerful of a thing in the first few games that they play of this new Sigmar, when a tie comes up, they're immediately going to grab up the dice again and go for another round to see when they forget. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it becomes so hardcore of a thing that everybody can remember it. But we're going to see. All right, that looks like all the rules and stuff that they done listed. And I'm in agreement with all of it. I mean, we need an infusement of new stuff. You know, we need an infusement of new rules and a refreshment to this game. A reset and not a new codex run, you know, which they're gonna probably do and gonna do anyway. But we don't need all new books and new stats, man. They're doing it the right way, I think, as far as these little tweaks to the core mechanics that can seem small, but they could potentially be big. And especially that 50-point buy-in. If they let you buy a command point for 50 points, you're going to see a lot of nastiness out of some people. Now I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I've been running my mouth for a while. And we're going to supposed to have another new series coming up if we can ever get them fellas together on a back and forth. Grumpy Gamers is some new fellas we're going to have on here. The Grumpy Gamers, and they're going to go back and forth looking at all the models and looking at everything and arguing over all the new Games Workshop stuff that's coming out. And man, I'm telling you right now, and I've been saying, we're living in the golden age of it. I thought the golden age was 1991 to 1994. That's what I thought. But you living in the golden age right now, Games Workshop. It ain't never been like this. It ain't never been this much volume, this much attention paid to their games. And it ain't just the internet showing that it is. And man, they thought video games was going to kill tabletop games. And what the funniest thing is, that it wasn't video games that woke Games Workshop up and made them turn it around. I think it wasn't video games, because that would have happened way, way, way sooner. It would have killed them off. They was still running on. You know, they latched on to the daggone Hobbit. It's a whole nother video thing. Whole nother video about this. But they latched on to that Hobbit license that kept them afloat. But after that, y'all know about War Machine, War Hordes, and skirmish games like that was taking Warhammer down. Took Warhammer down. And Warhammer rose up from the ashes with Age of Sigmar. Not Warhammer 40K. Age of Sigmar saved Games Workshop. You can talk bad about Age of Sigmar. Say how it's for children. You know, it's a swingy dice game. You know, it's a beginner game. If you ain't smart enough for 40K or whatnot. And I got a whole nother video coming up about that, because I recently started playing demons in 40K for the first time, because I have such amount of Nurgle demons and I have such a force of Death Guard. I decided to put them together, and we ran an open play scenario game just here recently, where I took a Great Unclean One as a general and a whole bunch of Nurgle tanks and things and whatnot, Typhus and all this. And I'm going to tell you this: the Nurgle demons is dumbed down for 40K. It's simplified. They are similar abilities, but it's simplified. the abilities. You don't have near the synergies and things and all the inner workings and abilities is simplified for 40K. So what's that telling you about it? Did they got to simplify it down for 40K? Anyway, I'll get into that in a whole nother dadgum video. I'm hoping to put out a bunch more content coming out soon. I kind of been on vacation down there in New Orleans, Louisiana. But I'm back now. I'm going to get on a little bit of painting. I got a daggone horticulus that I got going on. I got a whole mess of all that new Stormcast. New. It's from a daggone Blight War box. But I painted out. I'm painting all them Stormcast up. Got that Glockin going on. Just got my Glockin about 75% done. Ended up getting the people on top, the little brothers, having to magnetize up. Had to magnetize them suckers on for storage purposes. When I go to, because he fit real nice. I've been dragging him around without them fellers on top. And he fits real nice in my GW case. Got that great unclean one, the champion. Let me tell you something. When I played that 40K game, he got shot 2 pieces. But I'm going to tell you this. If I'd have been playing with the Age of Sigmar War Scroll, where he had 16 wounds instead of 18, but I had Endless Gift and a regen of die 3 each hero phase, I'm going to tell you right now, this sucker would have still been alive no matter how. But they put so much firepower on him, they blew him to daggum pieces. It wasn't even no daggum joke. I did end up getting a blow ab. So I'm putting it to this daggum blow ab model right here lately. I'm going to continue to build that Nurgle force. I'm going to continue to build my Stormcast force. But in the next video I'm going to be getting into, I'm going to tell you why that I probably ain't going to be getting that new Stormcast force. The ones in the dresses. The ones in the dresses. This is what I'm talking about. Now, at the very end here, I want to do one more of them daggum screen shares. Screenshots. And show you what. Alrighty. And I can't get the models early. But I was able to get, I can show y'all what these daggum endless spells, I should have done it during the endless spell section and whatnot. I'm going to show y'all right now what these endless spells look like. If you got these 2 dudes are fighting, you see? And this wizard here, Stormcast wizard, one of them, he's got a dress on, so he can cast. They done had suckers in boas and feathered things and bear skins, and now they got them in dresses. So he probably can cast spells. So this daggone wizard right here, this Chaos Warrior, he's gonna cast up one of them endless spells. So you see this thing is a glowing up, and all of a sudden, boom! Wait a second, wrong spell. Here you go. He casts it. He makes it. It's the endless spells. It's that T spell. And then it'll move over around the board and get that Chaos Warrior. But let's say it don't kill him, and then they roll for the turn, and the dang Stormcast wins the turn. So the fellow that went second on the turn is gonna get to move the teeth back, and he moves it back, and the Stormcast only had 2 wounds left on him, and his own spell just chonked him all up. And so that's how that kind of that's how them daggum endless spells is gonna work. Y'all just saw how them endless spells is gonna work on the tabletop. They move around. So that's about all for now. I'm gonna say goodbye. And so you can rewind the video and whatnot and check it out. And I hope we don't have no more of them daggum women out there that's watching it over and over again. I've had to put out so many restraining orders that I appreciate y'all watching it, but don't get obsessive. I love all my fans. I'm gonna tell you right now, we just went over 100. We just went over 100 daggum fan subscribers, and I was gonna have a daggum party video, but everybody and their brothers putting out these videos on the new changes, and when I got back into town, I just had to go ahead and just go ahead and put out this video. So I'm gonna say goodbye to y'all for now, and I will be back very soon with some more content. The second video is part 2 is going to be on the models and looking at the box set, and also trying to come up with guessing what the prices are, because as you know, in this here daggone white dwarf, in the front where they usually have the little price boxes, ain't no price boxes for none of that new stuff. Everything's been delayed. This one come out a week late. I guess it's because all Games Workshop people go on vacation in early June or such. Not that's when you get your vacation per year. Because other than that, we're going to keep cranking out more plastic than they can paint. It ain't very hard, is it? It ain't very hard to make you buy more plastic than you can paint. I got 100 model backlog. You see that row right? You see that right there, backlog? That's just ones that's ready to be painted and halfway ready to go paint. That ain't counting all the ones that's actively being turned on by me. So anyway, we're gonna get out of here. Gonna be back for the next video. And see y'all later. I appreciate everybody that subscribed. Like I said, we done went over 100. Appreciate everybody subscribe. Please hit it with a like if you can. We're going to get more and more subscribers and try to get more and more content out to you. We appreciate it.